We've all seen the movie Finding Nemo.
Go to school. 5 more minutes.
The one about the clownfish that gets lost in the ocean.
Nemo!
In my opinion, Pixar's best movie by far. Well, I'm going to try and rewrite the movie in a real-life tank. The part that I'm going to change is the death of coral and all the eggs being eaten. In this version, coral lives and all the eggs hatch. I hope. So I'm going to set up a saltwater tank, pair 2 clownfish, and get them to lay eggs so I can create an army of Marlin Juniors and 1 Nemo. Now, I did some research online on how to breed clownfish. Looks like I'm going to need a pair of mature clownfish. How do I know how mature a clownfish is? So I looked that up too. Clownfish need to be 1.5 to 2 years old. Fish don't necessarily come with a birth certificate, so I guess this will have to be done based off size. 2 to 3 inch long clownfish should do. Luckily, I found that the male only needs to be 6 months old so I can get a smaller one. Hopefully that's easier to find. Well, I already have the tank I'm going to use. It has been sitting for a couple years and it might be just a little bit dirty. So I'll go ahead and get this thing cleaned up.
And bring your brooms because it's a mess.
I sprayed out all the old sand I left just sitting in the tank. Took out all the old filter media. I don't think that's going to be reusable. And finally, had it cleaned up enough to set up. Now I'm going to need some things for this fish tank. So it's time to go to the fish store. I got some live sand. The reason it's called live sand is because it has tons of bacteria living in the sand, which will help my tank cycle faster. I also got a heater and some salt water. This fish store had all kinds of fish. Big tangs, all kinds of colorful coral. This eel, which also had a stingray hiding behind it. Then I found the clownfish section, and they had a huge variety of clownfish, but all of them were too small, so I'll have to keep looking for bigger ones. I still need some filter media and live rock. The reason I want the live rock is the same reason I want the live sand. The faster the tank cycles, the faster I can get the clownfish. So I headed to the fish gallery. I was hoping I could find the filter media I wanted here, but no luck. They did have this huge fly river turtle though. They didn't have any live rock either, so I checked out the clownfish they had in stock. They did have a couple different kinds, but still too small. These were bigger than the last store, and maybe I could use one for the male, but I'm gonna have to keep looking for a female. They also had these baby fly river turtles too. But I need to find live rock and filter media still. So I drove to the fish tank, another fish store. I finally found it, the best tank of them all, the live rock tank. They also had some cool fish in here too. They had some clownfish, but again, just too small. So all I got was the piece of rock. We took it out of the tank, weighed it, because you pay by the pound. Luckily it was only 2 pounds, so not too expensive. Now all I needed was the filter media. Which brings us to Petco, which also had a bunch of clownfish, but just not the right size either. This may be harder than I thought. But they did have the filter media, so it's time to set the tank up. First I added the sponge and ceramic rings into the filter part of the tank. Then I slammed my old pump around, trying to get it to work, and it did. Now, time to add in the sand, so I poured it in and added way too much, so then I had to scoop it back out. That's a lot better. Then I added the rock. That was extremely hard to find. Now it's time to pour in the water. It may look a little foggy now, but in a few hours it should settle. I still need to add the light and the lid. And now we're done. After a couple hours, the water had cleared up and I added in some fish food to start the tank cycle. This cycling process is basically just growing nitrifying bacteria in the tank to convert toxic ammonia put off by decaying fish food or fish waste to other less toxic forms, nitrite, then into nitrate, which can then be taken out of the tank through water changes. Now the next morning I noticed the rock had something sticking out of it. I couldn't tell what it was, but it had tentacles.
We got a nervous Nelly here, so I know this is going to sound like a funny question, but are you a serial killer?
No, I get it. There's a lot of nuts out there. I am a stranger. I am a hitchhiker. But I swear to you, I am not a serial killer.
Come to find out, it's called aptasia, which isn't really much of an issue right now, so I won't worry about it. Today I went to go get some fresh water from the fish store to top off the tank since it had lost some water due to evaporation. The reason you have to use fresh water for topping off is because when salt water evaporates, it leaves the salt behind, causing the water to become saltier than before, and we need it to be the same level consistently. Now, it's been about a week at this point, and it was time to start testing the water to see how the cycling process is doing. This is just adding water from the tank to test tubes and putting these chemicals in them to test for ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. Ideal conditions in a cycled tank are 0 ammonia, 0 nitrite, and some level of nitrates. I tested the water and it only showed a little bit of ammonia in the tank and nothing else. So I continued adding fish food and decided to add an auto top off system to the tank so I don't have to worry about adding fresh water every day. I just fill this bucket with fresh water, put in the pump, add a water level sensor, and run the tube, and now my tank can top itself off with fresh water. Now I went ahead and checked the salt levels in the tank, or salinity, to see where it was at, and it reads 1.025, which is just fine. Now it's been a couple more days and I'm going to test the water again to see where the cycle is at, but again it's showing the same thing, which is weird because I've added food to this tank for 2 weeks every day, twice a day, and it's not moving. Maybe because my test kit is old, it's not accurate anymore. So I went ahead, got a HANA nitrate checker, which is a lot more accurate and will tell me if my tank is cycled or not. All I have to do is fill the tube with tank water, put it in the checker to zero it out, then add this solution and put it back in the checker, set the timer, and wait. Once it was done, I saw the tank had nitrates in it already, meaning we were pretty much done with the cycle. I also started to notice orange algae growing on the rock and sand, which is a good sign too. Soon we can add the fish. So I waited a couple more days and did a water change to the tank to prepare for the fish, and also did more research about breeding clownfish. It turns out they need a lower salinity level to breed. So I started to lower the levels a bit now before they were added to the tank. I also added this wave maker to mimic the current of the ocean in the tank. Now it was time to go find a clownfish. First store of the day, FJW Aquarium. I looked all around the store, I saw some cool fish, but didn't find the right size clownfish for me. So now on to the next store, another fish gallery, and I finally found a huge clownfish. This one was perfect, so I had them bag it up and the search was over. This was a big clownfish, definitely a female. Hopefully it's old enough to lay eggs. Now we're back home to acclimate the new clownfish to the tank so it can go in. Now it's time to add her in, and as soon as I did, the tank started looking a lot better after 2 weeks of no fish in the tank. Since this is the rewrite of Finding Nemo, her name is Coral. Now I'm gonna have to go find a marlin. Hopefully it won't be as hard as finding Coral. I let Coral get used to the tank for a while and came back later to put some food in, and instantly when I did, she became way more active. So there we have it, a healthy female clown. That's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.